up, LGL? How you doing today? As you can tell, we had the empty chair in the intro because Doc Rock is out doing Doc Rock things. But today you're gonna have me, which is Mr. Camera Junkie, and also a special guest, which I'm gonna bring onto the screen right now. Also, Mr. Moderator, Paul Duncan. How are you doing, Paul?
I'm doing good. How are you?
All right, cool. Well, as the thumbnail says, we're doing like a 6 month recap. But basically, this is just recapping a lot of things that have happened, between you and I and a lot of LGL members within this first half of the year. And we were talking about it before, so we're just going to continue the conversation with all of these amazing people in chat. Unfortunately, we are doing a bit of a takeover on Doc Rock's channel, so we do not have the ability to bring your comments onto the screen like normal today. Let me make sure that that's on silent. Usually don't go live at this time, so my phone is still available, but uh, enough with that. We're not going to be able to bring the comments on stage, but still put a queue in front of them. If you do have any questions, we are both able to see them and we will be, responding to them normally. We just can't bring them onto the screen. But with that, how are you doing, Paul?
I am doing good.
All right. Well, first, I just want to say what's up to some of the amazing people here in chat. I see we have Discord for Creators. We also see Parker Jennings. We have Aubrey here, David, Tom, Dean, Rich, Valerie, Michelle, Todd. All these amazing LGL members. Thank you for taking the time. And today's subject is about the recap about the things that have got like that have happened in our journey. So we're just going to have a conversation about that, but kind of to give you a mindset of what we're talking about is a quote that I heard recently, which was, in 6 months from now you can have one of two things, which is 6 months of production or 6 months of excuses. Regardless, at the end of 6 months, the 6 months is inevitable, right? How you choose or what you choose to do in that time makes all the difference in the world. So, talk to me. How have you been? And tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm doing really good. Some of you may know I had a interesting bout with COVID, so we're over that, and that's all in the past, and moving forward again. But um, it's been an interesting journey. It was a little over a year ago that I got started in this world. I guess I discovered Ecamm and Doc Rock and everybody else, and it's been it feels like a dream. It's been quite the journey. And I still look back frequently and go, how did this happen? But
Well, can you tell me three things that are completely different because of these changes or because of the things that you were able to accomplish a year ago from today? Like, give me three things that you can say that I would have never thought this would have happened.
I would have never thought that I had people around the world that I could call friends, but I have not actually physically met in person except for one. Um, and then also the the community has just been absolutely incredible. And it's also given, I had retired. I had not planned on retiring when I did, but I ended up retiring. And this has given me purpose to my life. It gives me a reason to get up in the morning and things to do. And, rather than just kind of sit around and do a poor me thing, it's like I don't have time for that anymore.
No, I totally agree. Those are three like awesome things because I can agree with all of them. Like, there's so many people right here in chat that a year ago, like, I couldn't even have imagined, having the types of relationships that I have now. Some of them I have met, and some of them that's still pending. But the the friendship is so real, right? The connection is so real that I would have. That's one of the things in general that I would have never thought. As well, the community, both the LGL and the Ecamm live community, which are amazing. So I can't emphasize that enough. A little bit about me is starting like within just this past year. 6 months ago was when I started editing videos for Ecamm, and that's one thing that has night and day changed every aspect of my life. And as I started doing that, I have slowly been gaining the confidence to let the other things go, right? And one of the things that I was doing was phone repair. And as of July, right now, I'm, shouting it out from the rooftops that I am not going to be doing phone repair anymore. I'm not dedicating my time. I'm kind of like burning the ships behind me, as the metaphor says, and not giving myself a way out or removing the safety net. And that's something that's been very hard for me because it's something that is like as soon as I started doing this or have this mindset, I know that the word of mouth is going to be he no longer does that comparative to like call this guy for your next repair. So that's where, like the struggle is with me, but I only see amazing things in the future. And the reason why is because of that before mentioned comment of like at the end of 6 months, we're either going to have 6 months of results or 6 months of excuses.
Yep.
And I want to see 6 months of results in what I'm working on right now, which is this content creation aspect. So let me ask you, for anyone who has been thinking about dipping their toe or actually like jumping into the water that they've just been dipping their toe, what is something that you would say like that you would recommend to just get them started in doing any type of content creation?
I mean, the biggest thing is just to do it. I mean, we all have fears, and even people that have done this for a long time have fears of that first step. One of the very first videos that I did was we were challenged to go live. And, you know, my body was telling me that I was going to die if I went live. And it was like, so I decided I'm going to play with this. So across the street is a medical facility from mine. So I went over there. I sat down in the patio by the medical facility and I went live. And I said, I'm sitting next to a medical facility because I know I'm going to die. And at least this way, when it does happen, somebody will find me and they'll either be able to rescue me quickly or I'll be out of the house and I don't have to worry about Maestro deciding he's hungry and feasting on me. So I just kind of played into it and I was scared to the
Yes.
heck. And I made it. I was still sitting there when it was all over with. Nothing blew up. The world was still rotating. People were walking around and it was like, okay, I could do this.
And the world went on, right?
And then it really started spinning.
No, I bet. But that's one thing that I did notice, and a lot of people, have this fear of sometimes going live and being like, "What? What are we gonna talk about?" Right? Like, what is the subject matter gonna be? It's funny because I think we had this conversation, right, about today's live stream, and I was like, "Hey, we're just gonna hang out and have a conversation because you don't plan candid conversations." When you go to a grocery store, you can have a simple conversation just about anything with the cashier while she's checking you out or anything else throughout your day. And it's not like those conversations are scripted, but they just happen. And the subject matter is basically what you build on. So, the same way that I say you shouldn't fear to go to the grocery store to purchase products, right? And have a simple conversation with somebody, that's the amount of fear that I feel you should logically have when it comes to having a live stream. There's shirts that are going around right now that says live happens. we were a little late because of technical, difficulties, but at the same time, nothing impedes us from doing a live stream and being able to just come on and have a conversation.
Yeah, it's, I mean, and even after you've done it for a long time, it's still going to be, you're going to get nervous. I mean, I told Lewis, right before this started, I said, okay, I can tell it's happening because my mouth just went dry. Those things happen. You get, when I used to speak in front of lots of people, the butterflies would start. The hope was that from the time I got to the side of the stage to the middle of the stage, that the butterflies would decide to move in formation instead of all over the place. And, once you open your mouth and you start talking, you know, everything falls into place and you kind of forget about what's happening around you. And you just have to enjoy, relax and enjoy it. It's an experience. You're learning and
Yeah.
you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah, and that's one thing. Mistakes are gonna happen. India Delgado actually did 100 streams, 100 days of live streaming consecutive, which is an amazing feat. And I know that you were a big part of that. And I know that even though you weren't in front of the camera, helping produce that and helping her produce that live stream night in and night out is a tough, tough task. So it
Yep.
is just as hard as actually being in front of camera. But I how was that a learning experience for you within, these last 6 months, because I know that that's something that definitely happened within this year.
That was kind of incredible because it gave me, even though I wasn't on camera, I had committed to her that I was going to take that journey with her. So I was there present every day and helping her in the background, and we were talking throughout the day and stuff like that. So we were kind of, I was kind of helping to motivate her and do different things. And it was, I mean, I know it was a challenge for her at times. It was a challenge for me even at times. It was like, oh, okay, we got to do another day and all this stuff. But it was really good for setting up the concept of the commitment and the schedule and the doing of, you know, the commitment of doing things ongoing. Um, and as Doc always says, the reason we do challenges is not just to do the challenge. The challenge is there to build the practice and the habits to keep things going. So you may do a 30-day challenge, or you might even jump off the ship and do a 100-day challenge. It's the fact that when the challenge is over, it's not over. You want to keep that momentum going. You want to switch to, if you want to do a once a month stream, you want to do a once a week stream, you want to do 2 times a week stream, make that commitment and continue it on. It's not just, oh, I did the challenge. Great. I got my certificate. We're done. There's a reason for the challenge.
Yep, I absolutely agree. That was one thing that I was able to speak to India about as well. That I said, throughout this challenge, figure out your schedule and which days were the easiest for you to be able to produce the content, and then see if those days also fall in line with, your community, and those should be the days that you look to do your live stream. Like, I have my live streams every Saturday night, which you're a part of, and I thank you as always, for being an amazing moderator for my lives as well. That um, that was the day that I was able to be the most consistent. And I understand that there's a lot of analytics out there, but sometimes you just need to not look at the analytics and be like, if the analytics tells me that Tuesday at noon is the best day for me to do a live stream, yet it is the worst day for me to do it actually, then I really don't care what the analytics say, right? Because I would rather still do my live stream at the day that I can compared to the day that they say I should. And even though it's been a like slow roll, so to speak, because of that, not everyone's available or even awake at 11 p.m. on a Saturday. I still have the community of my camera junkies, and it's something that I wouldn't trade for anything in the world. It is something that I've mentioned week in and week out. It is the highlight of my week. And because of that, right? Because of me just pursuing something that I was passionate about, so many amazing things have happened, so many crazy milestones that I would have never even thought I could have accomplished have happened already.
Yep.
So before I get on a soliloquy, what accomplishments or goals that you think that like I wouldn't even have thought that would have been anything at all? Like that wouldn't even have been a thing that have happened in this past year.
One of the biggies is, hang on a second, we got it. One of the biggies is the fact of um, doing what I'm doing right now, being here. Um, a year ago, this was just, I was helping a friend out, exploring some stuff that, she was thinking of doing. And, she wanted to do some live streams or do some recordings and stuff like that. And I was just, kind of getting some information for her. That was what the intent of everything was supposed to be. And it kind of developed from there. Like I said, I found Doc and everything like that. And I knew after being in this for a while, I knew I wanted to do something, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And, you know, Doc made me a moderator for his channel about a little over a year ago. And then that turned into Ecamm having me help moderate, the conference that they did, which then developed into Lauria asking me to help moderate her conference. And it's just snowballed from there. And it was just like, I look in the mirror and I go, who are you? Um, how did you do this? But when Doc's encouragement and Doc's classes, he teaches stuff to, kind of help you improve and help you grow as a content creator. And I have to admit, there was a period of time I listened to Doc, and that's what I did. I listened to Doc. I didn't put any of that into practice. And then I started listening more to what he was saying and taking action on it and putting those things into place. And then things started happening. And then Doc was the one that encouraged me, like what teach people to be a moderator, do this and do this stuff. And so that's kind of how it turned into being what it is. Doc is the one that coined the phrase for me of, gave me the name Mr. Moderator. And it's just kind of grown. So, I started doing um, streams or videos on being a moderator. And when we did the last thing, I think it was CETA, where we were doing
Yeah.
something every day, you know, my goal was to do a whole month's worth of videos on moderating. And I didn't make it all the way to the end. I think I stopped on day 28 or something. Things came up. Do I take that I failed? No, because there's a whole lot of content I have now that I didn't have before. But life came up. Now, I will be the first to say that's an excuse. I mean, it's just, I decided that there were other things more important than doing my videos every single day. And so I didn't make it to the total 30. And it's now been 2 months since I've done a recording on there. And it's like, it's something that I want to get back into. So I've got things building. My goal is now to do a video every week and post it on my channel and continue growing that process. I came up with this blocked word list that Doc encouraged me to put out there. And I would never have done that if Doc hadn't pushed me to do that.
And it's
And
amazing.
it's, you know, it's getting me out there and getting me known and people talking and stuff like that. It's like a dream. I mean, I don't know how this happened. It's crazy. But I listened to what Doc said, and I do know. I started really listening to what Doc was saying every week, and then I started taking what Doc was saying and putting it in action and making things happen. And this is the result.
Yep. I think that's the biggest difference, right? Or the biggest key is that you put it into action. Now, I have to just mention again that word block words list is amazing. So for anyone who is looking to get a list of words that should not be used in your chat or in your videos, please hit up Mr. Moderator here. He's got a link to that where you'll be able to purchase that and get that and use it. I have it on my channel and it's made such a difference. And to tell you the truth, I have to mention it. We are moderators for this channel for Doc Rock, both you and I. And
Yep.
that's why we've been able to, speak on the behind the scenes doing moderation for a lot of these events. And even right now we have to moderate our own chat, you understand, because there's something a little disturbing here, that we have to like knock out as the wrench mobbers, so to speak. And that's part of the deal. Like even right now in our live streams we're dealing with it because it is a prominent issue, and because of it you were able to do the moderation for all of those conferences and events. That's amazing. A little bit on my side is that I was able to partake in an event. I was able to, within like a year of starting my content creation journey, to become part of the Leap into live stream. And the crazy thing is that I had set a mental goal for myself. I was like, when I first heard of the conference, the first time that I ever heard of it was Doc Rock talking about it in sort of his testimonial, saying that he mentioned to Stephanie Liu, I think it was, or someone saying, like, I'm going to speak at this event next year, right? And him speaking it into action, so to speak, allowed him to actually be a speaker at events prior to that. And that when I heard that story was when I was then informed of the Leap into live stream event, and I was like, it's just like a month or two away. I was like, that's gonna be really cool to take part in. And I said to myself, I'm like, and I'm gonna be a speaker at it next year. So happened that it only took 2 months for me to actually be a speaker at last year's event, and it just came so much faster because of the one thing is taking action. And any action is better than no action, right? Because right now you mentioned that you want to create a certain amount of videos per week, per month, so on and so on. We had set goals at the beginning of the year, kind of like our, resolutions of what we wanted to accomplish. But the thing to also be mindful is that life is a roller coaster. There's ups and downs and lefts and rights. So that if at any time you were not able to accomplish said goals that you set for yourself, don't be so hard on yourself, because any motion forward is better than no motion. So even slow motion is better than no motion.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, it's like life happens, stuff comes up, but, realistically, it's all an excuse. I mean, what I've discovered in this process is I really like um, editing videos. It's been kind of fun playing around and trying to. I mean, was it easy in the beginning? Oh my gosh. There were 2 nights where my computer and my entire desk was going out the window to the side of me out into the alley. I was just besides myself, and I reached out to my friends. I called Valerie. Valerie talked me off the wall, got me through the process, and helped me get over the, you know, I guess the frustration that I was feeling, and got me through the process. And I did it. The next video I did, I had to reach out to Valerie again to get some help with a couple things. The third video, Valerie was with me, but I was doing most of the stuff myself. And I had to call her maybe once or twice just to kind of check a couple things. And then after that, it was pretty much I was doing it and I was learning. And, it's like anytime you learn something new, there's a learning curve. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to make mistakes. I have made lots of mistakes, but each of those mistakes has told me that's not the way to do it. There's
Yeah,
a different
you
way.
learn from mistakes,
Yep.
but
You
going
cannot learn
back to
from
it,
a mistake. Yep.
this amazing community that you can lean on,
Yep.
when you have an issue is awesome. But you were saying?
Yeah, it's like you are not on this journey alone. There's a lot of us out here,
Mm-hmm.
on that same journey with you, just like you're on the journey with me. I'm with it with you. If you have problems, if you have questions, if you have frustrations, whatever, we're here to help. We're here to help you in any way we can. And, it's use us, talk to us,
Yeah, because I have yet to meet a person that knows everything about everything, right? And there's so many aspects of this content creation journey, no matter which way you're looking at it, whether you're doing this just for fun, and it's a creative outlet, or you're looking at it hardcore as a business person and saying like, I want to make this, my next 10-year plan. You will still have a learning curve at any point in this journey, and the people who have been doing it for 10 years plus are still learning. For
yep,
example, there's a content creator that I follow. um, she's been on the platform for many, many years, many years. Okay, and she just came out with a video about that she actually doesn't have her thumbnails like preset. Something as simple as that we mentioned throughout our community as something that you should have in your arsenal as tools, which is a set of headshots that you have already set aside, not only for your own thumbnails, but just in case you get invited to be interviewed on somebody's podcast, on somebody's live stream, anything like that, and they said, hey, we need a couple of shots of you to help us promote said live stream, said podcast. And at that time, you know, it made me realize, like, once again, not everybody knows it. And this is a very, very successful channel. And she was just astonished of like, I've been doing this for so long, and I just now found out that I should have like pre-cut out like expressions of myself that I could constantly reuse to make a simple, quick thumbnail that's effective. Because, not to go into a whole nother tangent, but effective thumbnails don't always have to be the most picturesque thing.
yep,
Effective is the keyword.
yep. The simpler, the better.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's been interesting. My feeling is I try to learn something new every day. I do. I mean, whatever it is, I learn something new every day. My feeling is that if I get to a point that I stop learning, I've probably died and just haven't realized it yet. It's that's part of life that keeps you going.
Mm-hmm.
And is it all great? Not necessarily. Do I get frustrated at times? Yes, sometimes daily. But that's part of it. You just have to remember that you're the part, you have the brain. You're the
Yeah.
one that can do thinking and all this stuff. The computer, while it does have kind of a brain, when you turn the power off, the brain's gone. Yours doesn't go away that way. If your brain shuts off, you're dead. So you are better than the computer. It's like you're the human, and you just don't get frustrated. If you get frustrated, walk away, take a breath, just whatever it is, come back to it with a fresh look, but don't let it beat you.
Yes. And you know what? That's something I just kind of had like a brainwave, so to speak. And I guess that's when a lot of people say that we have to be more childlike, right? In the aspect that children don't know anything in general, right? And they're curious about everything. The one thing they don't do is that they don't beat themselves up. They don't adult themselves out of thinking a certain way or that they can't learn something. They're always willing to see what they're capable of, and they're always testing their limits. So I guess that's something that we all have to be more of, that way of being more childlike, jovial, in a sense of just being able to be silly and be able to learn.
Have the
because
curiosity, make mistakes. I mean, look at a child when they're learning stuff. They don't know what they don't know, and they're willing to figure it out. And do they fall? Do they get burnt? Do they get hurt occasionally? Yes, they do. Do they stop doing what they were doing? Nope.
yeah,
They
even with
just
walking.
realize that, you know, okay, the way I just did this doesn't work. So let's try something different. They don't, kids don't give up. The only reason kids give up is because the rest of the world tells them they can't.
Yeah, and that's why it's so amazing. Like, yeah, like children, I guess I'm just a little stuck on that analogy, right? Like children actually, yeah, like they're always willing to learn, and we learn more from our mistakes than we do from our successes, because if everything was a success, we wouldn't have the ability to learn how to figure things out. And that's one thing that I think is something that we could all, use. It's a great skill, which is learn how to problem solve. Not
Yep.
always, like, not there's not always a Google search or answer for your particular problem, and sometimes you have to create it, right? Necessity is the mother of all invention.
Yep. Yeah. And a lot of times, and I was guilty of this in the beginning, everything had to be perfect. I couldn't start doing anything until I had this. And then when I had this, I had to have that. And when I had that, I had to have this. And it was like somebody told me one time and the light bulb went off. If you wait till everything is perfect to do something, it's never going to happen.
Yep.
And we are not perfect. We like to think we are, but we're not perfect. And do it. I mean, make a mistake. I mean, sometimes, make a fool out of yourself, whatever. It's okay. The world is not going to end. The stock market's not going to crash. Traffic's not going to come to a halt. There's not going to be a major earthquake just because you made a mistake when you were trying to do a live stream. It's like, you're not that powerful. You might think you are, but, get over yourself and just do it and have fun.
Yeah, it's like it's not that important. That's what it just comes down to. It's not that important, and don't take yourself so seriously,
Yep.
because the thing is that what we see as flaws is actually our individuality. And I've mentioned this before, not on this, so here we go, but I have never heard a man propose to a woman and say, "Oh, I want you to marry me because you're just like every other woman out there." Just because you're exactly cookie cutter, plain Jane, like everything else, white bread type of woman. No, it's always their individuality. It's like, you are the only one for me. You are the
Yep.
most special out of all the billions of people in the world. There's only one you. And that is what we need to hone in on, because that, us only being us, our quirkiness, our what we would consider faults, are actually our individuality, and is what makes us us. It's what makes us different from everyone else. That be like, yeah, that's why Lewis loves this certain thing over this certain thing. Like, everyone might know my fascination for Krispy Kreme donuts, right? That's something that you might be aware of. Give me a thumbs up if you agree, but those things are super addictive, and I got a place that makes them fresh 10 minutes away. It's a problem. So, um, that's where I come and bring it all together. That I say our individuality is what we consider our faults, that we're trying to like iron out and be perfect on, and be like, I don't want that, is actually what makes us who we are. What do you think
Yep.
about that?
I agree. It's, and Doc always talks about be you. It's like it's very hard to try to imitate somebody else. It takes a heck of a lot of work to be somebody else. It's very easy for you to be you.
Yep.
And we forget that. We see other people doing stuff out there and we try to be them. And it's like me. If I tried to be Valerie with the bubbly personality and some of the other stuff, it's like it would come across as totally fake
Mm-hmm.
because how as much as I would love to have the bubbly personality that Val has, it's not me, you know. It's just, at this point, it's not where I am, and it would look ridiculous, if I tried to be as bubbly as Val. It would, like, what who are you trying to be, you know? So it's like,
Absolutely.
just be you. Just, you know,
Yep.
people will connect with you. What you think of me is none of my business. Not everybody is going to like you. Not everybody's going to think you walk on water. As much as you want to think that, it's not going to happen. You are always going to have people that don't like you. People are going to make comments to you. I mean, Tom Buck did a thing last weekend with the couples table about,
Yes.
some comments and stuff that happened. And it's like, Tom's a fantastic person.
The
I
nicest
mean,
guy in the world.
exactly. I wished I had him as a teacher when I was in school. But, there are people that don't like people, and, just some people just don't like anybody, and it's going to happen. And it's like, let that's fine.
Yeah.
Let's be you. Because for every person that doesn't like you, you're going to have hundreds of people that do like you. People will connect with you, and you'll find your little community, and just work with it. Forget about all the other people. You do not have to be everything to everybody. Be you.
Exactly. Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken.
Exactly.
So the way to bring that as well is like, yeah, like just be yourself. When you try to be someone else, it's almost like we have a BS meter. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That we can tell right away, like, this, it just seems off, right? It's almost
Mhm.
like we're seeing a video, but it's almost like there's a smell to it. You're like, something fishy. So because of it, that's something that I guess I've been able to learn myself. Doc mentioned it not too long ago about finding your voice, right?
Yep.
And the one thing that I can add to that is that once you find your voice, is once you have understood who you are, right? It's like, know thyself. And when you know who you are, then what other people say cannot affect you. And I saw something recently, I can't remember where it was like, if I were to try to insult you right now and tell you, like, Paul, you have stupid blue hair, right? You can just brush it off, because within yourself that your hair is not blue. So any comment derived beyond that doesn't phase you. The
Yep.
thing is that there's a lot of comments, a lot of things, a lot of trolls out there. A lot of people try to disrupt. The ones that I say, like, that they just want to watch the world burn, right? You
Yep.
can't focus on that negativity. And sometimes you try to, like, beat out the negativity with your positivity. But there is some times where you just need to let it burn by itself, so to speak, and just let it be, and know that the place that it's coming from is the same place as someone telling you that you have stupid blue hair.
It's like this morning I was, Christopher Reddy is an astronomer guy, and he was doing a live stream, with the pictures from the James Webb Telescope that was just released.
Okay.
And he asked if I would help. And his streams can have anywhere from 600 plus up to, I did one time with him that
I've
had
been there,
close to
yes.
2,000 people. And so I was helping him out. And it was like, when I do streams like that for other people, I realize how spoiled we are in this community with people that are, for the most part, kind and friendly and helpful. Because, he was doing his stream, and, they're not always perfect. Things happen, whatnot. And there were some problems, and people were just coming out of the woodworks, complaining about this, complaining about it. And it was just like, and I'm like going, "Ooh, wow, let me get back over into my community where, there's nice
Yeah.
people." It's true. I mean, it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be great, and, there are going to be people to distract. I mean, even in our streams, we have periods of time where we get spammed, and it can be anything from comment off the wall comments up to porn links and stuff like that that we have to deal with. And as a content creator, when those happen, hopefully you have moderators in your back pocket that are helping you, and you ignore that stuff, because the intent of that is to disrupt you and your channel and screw things up and get you totally off track. And it's not necessarily hard to not get distracted by that, but it's just something that you have to expect. I tell people, if you start getting porn spam or spammed period on your channel, you've arrived. It's the
Yeah, the
you,
rite
you,
of passage.
it's your rite of passage. You've made it. You can consider yourself now part of the big time, because it's happened to you. And it's not if it's going to happen to you, it's when it's going to happen to you, and you
Hmm.
just roll with it. Don't let it pull you off. And the only way you can do that is by streaming, because you get used to things happening.
Hmm.
Things don't always go right. We had some problems in the beginning and stuff like that we had to deal with, and you just roll with it. Just
Yeah.
keep
And
going forward.
even on my live stream, I had your help, and I know that sometimes the comments are still able to come through to my side, even though they're eliminated
Yep.
through the moderators. And me understanding that and knowing that I have a group of moderators that know what they're doing as well, it allows me to see it in chat and just completely ignore it and just like let it roll off, like just a bead of water, so to speak, and just let it roll
Yep.
off and just continue. That I even asked you, I was like, did you even notice kind of when mentally I got to it? And apparently it doesn't. And that happens through just experience and knowing that these are going to be inevitabilities of what you're trying to do, but it shouldn't impede you. Now, one thing
Exactly.
that I do want to mention, that this is for anyone who's looking to create content, look at getting moderators. There are bots and different aspects out there like Nightbot that can help you as far as moderating with your channel, but these new types of trolls, they're kind of hip to it, and what they do is that they're actually not spamming with the actual comment, but the name of their channels themselves
Yep.
are the disturbance. So when they come in and they start spamming, the Nightbot tends to repeat that person's name in
Yep.
a form of a warning, and it only then clutters your actual comments with even more spam. So that's where I highly recommend actual moderators that can help you out comparative to just using an automated service, because the people who are looking to bypass these measures also know that those guys exist and are looking for ways to maximize their disruption.
Yep. Yeah, and there are tools out there, like the block word list and stuff like that. Use those things. One of the things with like using a block word list is basically any any chat message that has those words in it are never going to show up on your stream. You're not even going to know somebody tried to type them in. They're going to get blocked. If they put a variation of the word in or something that's not covered in that list, it's going to pop up, but it's going to be hidden. And we had a situation earlier where somebody came in and started typing some stuff, and we saw it, but it was not released to you guys. It was held, and we basically had to block it in the background so that you don't see it. So those kind of messages come up, but you can take action against them before they're seen by your audience and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's tools out there to use, and like Lewis was telling you, the Nightbot or whatever, it has a tendency of giving warnings, but sometimes it's the name, and it's just now you've perpetuated the whole thing because Nightbot keeps giving warnings to this person that has something not so well in with their names and stuff like that. So they're always going to get ahead of you. They're always going to try, they're outsmart you and, all the processes. And you just have to kind of keep working it. But there are things that can kind of help you, with your stream. Moderators are, you know, a great thing. Even if you are just getting started, find somebody that you trust, to become a moderator and help you out, because it's one less thing that you have to worry about. You can just do your stream, concentrate on what you want to share with people, and let your moderator or moderators, you know, take care of the junk that's happening in the background. If somebody's causing problems, the moderators can deal with it and get rid of the person, whatever, based on, your wishes.
Hmm.
The dirt's not on your hand. You know, People
Uh,
can blame me for having their comments removed or something like that. They don't blame Doc.
the funny thing is, right, that this conversation is about what was accomplished. Yep, the blue wrench. But what was accomplished in the last 6 months, right? And the reason why I'm laughing is because 6 months ago, a year ago, this conversation wouldn't even have happened, right? Like the amount of information and experience that we have both acquired within this last 6 months, it grows exponentially, right? And that's something that is, as we continue to do it, right, as you continue to work on your craft, you learn,
Yep.
because we are like biological machines that tend to find the quickest way to do things, right? Our minds always tend to find the shortcut in things. That's why we name things shortcuts, right? Because we're constantly looking for the most efficient way of doing everything so
Yep.
that we can maximize our time. And in that sense, we've also been able to put the practice in for 6 months, a year, whether it's moderating on the back end, creating our own content, or just going live. And all of those things are just building muscles that is part of our skill set now, that I can't I can't emphasize, like thinking about the future of this next 6 months of future speaking engagements, so many doors that are opening because of the fact that I
Yep.
am in love with the process and not the destination. And I
Yeah.
did want to emphasize on that. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, it is. It's crazy what has happened in the course of the last year to 6 months. Doc made a comment on his stream the other day that was kind of like hit me upside the head. And he said, if anybody in here would have told me a year ago that I would have given Paul keys to the closet, keys to the castle to be able to do everything, or even ask Paul, take advice from Paul, or Paul giving advice to the community, he said, I would have told you were crazy.
Yeah, how
It-
about the fact that Doc Rock is like, yo, Luis, Paul, I'm gonna need you to cover Tuesday's stream, and we're like, all right, and
I mean,
and it's like not even a thing. It's like we got you, and and that's why we're here live now having this conversation. That 6 months ago, a year ago, I would have never thought that I would have been like, yeah, I'm in the driver's seat helping out Doc Rock, just as a small token for all of the things that he's helped me out with. That is
yep.
just a drop in the bucket, in a form of sense, to say like, absolutely, there was no hesitation. So
I was even approached by Gloria and Live Streaming Pros, that group. They want me to do a 1 hour presentation with their Stream Accelerator group, which is, their paid customers and all this stuff. They want me to do a 1 hour Zoom meeting with those people, those core people, and talk about moderating. And it's like, where did this go? You know, it's just like, you know, the big thing is as you start taking this journey, I mean, there's a lot of things that I could have done along the way to, and I had to fight off some of this, but I'm not worthy of this. I don't know what I'm talking about. Who would want me to do this? Don't allow yourself to sabotage yourself.
yep.
Don't stop. If I would have stopped way back when I was frustrated,
Wow.
none of this would have happened. It's like, yeah, okay, you're frustrated. So what? keep working with it. Let Stick with it. You know,
Yep.
don't quit before the miracles start happening. It's like I mean, this has been life changing for me. Literally, it's just it is absolutely. It's hard for me to wrap my head around at time, but just allow things to happen. Be open to the success, the miracles, the challenges. The only difference between you and a successful person is they've made more mistakes than you have.
Yeah. You nailed it right on the head. Or they just stuck with it long enough to be able to make those mistakes, because
Yep.
someone who sticks with something is not because they got it 100% all every single time, right? And I reference a lot of sports a lot of times. Like, there is not one Hall of Fame baseball player that ever batted 1,000, right? That hit everything every single time. There
Yep.
were so many strikeouts as many home runs, you
Yep.
know, and that's what people don't focus on. So don't, like Miss Diana Gladney says, right? Don't major in the minor, right? Focus on the positive things. Focus on the things that are within your control. And when you focus on those things, pretty soon you just look around and you're like, how did this happen? And
Yep.
how did that happen? And that's where you and I are right now,
Yep.
where we're just sitting back and saying, like, I would have never thought that I would be a video production, a solo production specialist, video editor, in just catching my stride, and not only doing it for myself, but also in contact with so many amazing people that I'm both friends and, working with, that I just sit here in shock. And we had a conversation, like not too long ago, that we were just kind of doing that, just saying, like, I can't believe this happened and I can't believe that happened, and I'm just sitting here in awe. And the reason why we're having this conversation is because we want you, the person who's watching this video, to have this same type of experience. We want this for you just the same way. And the thing that you need to do, the one thing, is just start.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just start.
Yep.
So we are at our hour point. Paul, thank you for taking the time out here with me
True.
and sharing this with you. But do you have any parting words for the amazing people here in chat who hung out with us for an hour?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is rely on your community. I mean, they're there to support you. They're there to watch you. They're there to nobody 99.9% of the people out there are not there to watch you fail. They're there to watch you succeed. Forget about that small little percentage of idiots that don't mean anything anyway. You know, do it, learn from your mistakes. It's not going to be perfect all the time. I mean, are you going to fall flat on your face occasionally? Yep. Just take that as a success. You've learned something of how it doesn't work and you know not to do that, or you've learned, how to get around something or something like that. But don't be afraid to make a mistake. That's the biggest freeze point that you're going to have. Just let things happen. And life happens, live happens. Things are going to go wrong. Just accept it, move on, learn from it. Don't let that stop you.
Absolutely. That's such great advice. So, once again, thank you, Paul, for taking the time out. And I just want to give a shout out to all these amazing people here in chat. I see, Valerie hung out with us this entire time. I see Janice, Glenda, yeah, Tony was able to make it as well. I see Brady, so many amazing people. Once again, thank you for hanging out. I was looking for questions, but I didn't see any questions throughout the whole thing. So I guess we just had a pretty good conversation. So with that being said, I want to thank you who's watching the video, for taking the time out today and hanging out with us. Hopefully, we were able to bring you a little bit of inspiration and, a little bit of, just confidence, or, to help you get out there. There's no such thing as perfect, right? So don't let any of that stop you. Try to be as childlike and jovial as you can, and don't take yourself so seriously, because at the end of the day, right? Like, what is taking yourself so seriously worth, right?
Yep.
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. So,
Yep.
thank you once again. With that, have a great day and a great rest of your week. All right.
Thanks,
Bye
everybody.
everyone. All right. And now we hit the outro.